To see you. Welcome. I would like to invite you to join me as you are comfortable to sing with me for our opening gathering music here. So we're going to sing Blue Boat Home together as a way to welcome one another into this space and into this experiential day. Joanna knew what page it was on in your books there. Is it 1064? 1064? Okay, and one of them should probably mark.
Thank you.
All right.
1064.
And please join me if you'd like to stand. Please do so. Very imperfect accompaniment. Though below me I feel no motion, standing on these mountains and plains, far away from the rolling ocean, still my dry land heart can say, I've been sailing all my life now, never harbor nor port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue boat home. Sun, my sail, and moon, my rudder, as I fly the starry sea, leaning over the edge in wonder, casting questions into the deep, drifting here with my ship's companions, all we kindred pilgrim souls, making our way by the lights of the heavens in our beautiful I give thanks to the waves upholding me, hail the great winds urging me on, breathe the infinite sea before me, sing the sky my sailor song. I was born upon the fathers, never harbored or port have I known. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my home. One more time. The wide universe is the ocean I travel, and the earth is my blue home. Thank you. I love all of us as gathering music. It's great. So welcome once again to another one of our social action Sundays, which we've been doing for a while now. As some of you have probably been a part of, we've partnered with Food for People. Last month we were at the Marsh doing a coastal cleanup with NEC. And this month, someone, it's probably Birdie, had the great idea to look to some of you within our congregation who have a long history of activism and doing work towards healing the earth and our planet and our community. So we have kind of a homegrown service, if you will, today. We're going to be moving around the space. We're going to be talking to a few different leaders from our climate action campaign. We're going to take a look at our building and get inspired as to ways we can make some changes in our own homes, and just see how we can be a part of the change that we want to see. So thank you for being with me. I want to invite Genevieve Stubblefield up now to do our chalice lighting, such as it is, our LED chalice lighting. Thanks, Genevieve. I can do it. Hello.
Hi.
For the chalice lighting today, we're going to read a poem that's called, is this working? Okay. Courage Is by Reverend Dr. David Breeden. We gather here now, summoning our courage to be. We gather, bringing our weariness and our energy. We gather, bringing our wariness and our visions. Like trees in rocky places, our roots clutch. What we find is each other. What we find is each other, holding tightly. Courage is not certitude. Courage is not assurance. Courage is the willingness to join in the attempt, to join in the unlikely, even the impossible. Courage is a choice. Courage is a way of knowing. Courage is a way of joining together. Courage is knowing that together we will do what none of us can do alone.
Would you like to There's Sarah. Okay, Sarah.
Thank you. So before we split up into our more hands-on action portion of the day, I'd like to invite up Joanna Welch. She has a lovely passage from a book that we're going to invite you to actually close your eyes and experience this so you can really kind of drop into the vision of the type of world that we want to begin to live into. But I'll let Joanna share that with us.
This is the book. And a little bit. It's from What Is to What If, Unleashing the Power of Imagination to Create the Future We Want, by Rob Hopkins. So this is a story that he wrote, and it says, what if things turned out okay? So like I said, close your eyes and imagine this happening. I wake well rested in the straw bale walled apartment my family and I call home. Built 15 years ago, a part of a sustainable construction initiative throughout our city, the 3-story high apartment complex cost virtually nothing to heat. Its basement hosts composting units for all the building's toilets, and the solar panels on the roof generate all the electricity they need. I wake my kids, get them dressed and fed, and accompany them to school. A walk that takes us through shared gardens with a diversity of food crops, including young ruby chard whose deep red leaves radiate like stained glass caught in a brilliant sun of this late spring morning. The streets are quiet due to sparse motorized traffic, and they are lined with fruit and nut trees in early blossom. The air smells of spring. Each bus stop we pass is surrounded by a garden on 3 sides, part of the edible bus stop network that now includes most bus stops across the United Kingdom. Anyone can graze while they wait for the bus. In our community, the kids seem to have radically different feelings about school than they did 10 years ago. The education department's decision to eliminate testing, to give ample space for unstructured play, and to provide students with opportunities within the community to acquire meaningful skills that enable them to live happy and healthy lives by their own definition, which means that most kids now love going to school here. My son, for example, recently upped his cooking skills by spending a week at a local restaurant. My kids and I approach the school through the intensive food gardens planted and managed by students, walk into a building where we are greeted by the smell of baking bread and the sound of happy chatter. After we say our goodbyes, I pick up the public bicycle and head into the city on one of our cycle networks. With more bicycles and fewer cars on the road, air quality has improved and public health along with it. I call into my favorite bakery to buy bread, launched 15 years ago on the premise that baking is the new Prozac. The bakery's mission is to provide meaningful work opportunities for people who lack housing and job security and struggle with mental health. The bakery prioritizes local produce, grows a thriving rooftop garden, and uses bicycle-powered delivery around town. With the bakery's support, many of its employees have launched other successful businesses across the city. As I pass what used to be the district supermarkets, most of which closed down about 10 years ago, the explosion in community food production and rapid shift of community investment led to a withdrawal of support from supermarkets, which precipitated the collapse of the industrial food model over the space of only a couple of years. The building was repurposed and became home to a variety of local food processors, small-scale manufacturing, and a training center linked to local schools. The place is buzzing. Our former supermarket houses a mill that processes locally grown grains, as well as a sawmill that processes locally harvested timber. What have been an extensive car parks are now extensive food gardens, modeled on those that surrounded Paris 100 years ago, and they provide a local food for local markets. I called by the train station to buy tickets for a trip the following week. Bringing trains into public ownership 12 years ago also eliminate the days when every train station looked the same, with the same cafes, chains, and shops. Now every station is a manifestation of the local economy, its innovators, its unique flavors and tastes. Ours has twice the number of outlets as before, and it reflects the cultural diversity of our community. There is even a brewery on the station. You can have a drink surrounded by the fermenters, or you can, while you wait for the train. And, oh, the trains now run on time. The many people from other places who arrived here during the times of great migration have assimilated, and now it's hard to remember this community without them. While that transition wasn't without its challenges, the culture, the richness, the enterprise they have brought have enriched us all. I call into work. I'm working a half day today as part of my 3-day work week. Adopted nationally 10 years ago, the 3-day work week, together with the introduction of the universal basic income, has resulted in measurably lower levels of anxiety and stress across all income levels. People spend free time working on community projects and enjoying their lives. Some of my colleagues are away today. A scheme was recently launched where up to 10% of the staff from any company at any given time are embedded in the local community, offering managerial, marketing, financial planning, and project management skills to organizations that are working in various ways to support residents and make our community more resilient. I pick up my kids from school and we stroll home down streets where many of the houses are painted with eye-catching murals and mosaics. There are lots of kids playing in the street, a phenomenon that occurred naturally once the number of cars on the road diminished, which in turn encouraged residents to periodically close their streets entirely to motorized traffic so children can play out. All the neighbors look out for the kids, something made possible when adults began spending more time at home rather than trapped in long commutes to distant workplaces. After supper, I head out to a neighborhood assembly meeting. A few years ago, a group of residents not aligned to any political party were voted in to run our government. They altered the city's government model to enable and support initiatives emerging at the neighborhood scale to remove obstacles. They even created a civic imagination office to better inspire and support the imagination of local communities, to enable the ideas to become reality. About 70 people are at this particular meeting, and we discussed our vision for the future of energy in our neighborhood and some other pressing local issues. Policymaking has improved hugely. Thanks to the community-owned company set up in 2021, The majority of the city's energy is now locally generated, and most of the citizens have some kind of financial investment in it. It generates far better return than the banks do. When I reach home, I visit with several of my neighbors who are sitting outside chatting. We hear an owl and notice the bats swooping overhead. The move to designate our city, and that's London, a national park city, slowed the decline of biodiversity to the point of recovery by unifying previously fractured wildlife corridors, green spaces, and woods, so that I now regularly notice new kinds of insects and louder and more complex birdsong. With so much around me moving, changing, and thriving, I settle down to sleep with a feeling that the future is rich with possibility.
Thank you, Joanna. It's really inspiring. What I like to hear too is that I hear whispers of things that I actually see in our own community, which gives me a lot of hope. So at this time, we are going to switch gears. And I'm just going to actually ask our leaders today just to stand before we split up into groups. So we're going to have 4 stations essentially that we're going to rotate through. And so the idea is you're going to have about 8 to 10 minutes in each station. And you're going to hopefully just get a little bit of ideas and inspiration that you can take home and implement in your own life, because action is how we maintain our hope, right? And our vision for the future. So I just want to thank our leaders here today for being here and for the efforts that you have already made and for sharing those with us today. So today we have Scott Allen, who is going to be taking us on a tour of the building. He's going to begin, yay, which he has done an exhaustive amount of work on himself, among others. Exhausting. Keeps him young. So Scott is going to be starting in the sanctuary and lead you on a tour. That's going to be group number 1. Group number 2 is going to be with Joanna Welch. She's going to meet right here and be talking a little bit about a plant-based diet and how we can make changes in what's on our plates to improve the health of the planet. Group number 3 will be Sue Lee Mossman and Margie Emerson representing the Climate Action Campaign, and they'll have some paperwork and some forms that we can take, some initiatives that we can sign on as citizens, use our voting power to make a difference. And then finally, Genevieve Stubblefield and I will be out front offering a little visualization art project so we can continue a little bit of this visioning into the world that we want to be a part of. So what I'm going to ask you now, and then Anna, for those of you joining us on Zoom, is going to be taking that tour one by one. So you'll be starting here and then we'll all end out front for our closing. So I want to invite you now, if you can, please stand as you're willing and able, and we're going to number off here. So I want you to remember your number because that's where you're headed. Okay. Debbie, would you start us off?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Don't do that. No. Only go to 4. Only go to 4.
2.
You don't get to be one. No, you're already one. Okay. Accept our leaders. Thank you.
4.
1. Yeah.
3.
Oh, Margie, you can't. No. 4. In the back. Beautiful. Okay. Everyone know their number? Yes? Okay. 1s, please go join Scott in the sanctuary. Thank you. Number 2, you're going to stay right here. Joanna's got some books and some information.
I think we can unmute now if anyone else wants to. I'm not sure if we're supposed to or not. Annette, you're shaking your head, so you don't seem to think we should. Is anyone else able to unmute?
And it changed my life. I was 18 years old, and so I became a vegetarian. So what I read was for all that it takes to produce 1 pound of beef, you could feed 50 people. And I just decided I'd much rather feed 50 people. So, but I don't know where I got the courage, because it set me off from all my friends, but I stuck with it, you know, and just, just amazing, you know. And so I eat a plant-based diet. Now I'm a vegan. And that happened in the 90s, when I left where I lived, Cazadero, in the Sonoma Mountains, Sonoma County Mountains, and I had French Alpine goats for milk, and then I went to cow's milk, but the lowest fat, and I didn't like it at all. So I made the decision I'm going to go vegan, and so I've been doing that for more than 20 years. So that's it. So I have 2 plant-based books that I'll give to people if they're really interested in becoming, eating a plant-based diet. And also I'm going to be doing a discussion group on this book. I got it about 2 years ago, and there was a lot of people who wanted me to do this, and now I'm going to do it. So are there any questions? No questions?
I guess I'm curious, how many of us are vegetarians?
Yeah, I know you are. Yeah, so I'm a vegan. I've taken it too. So when I bought my house 10 years ago in Eureka Henderson Center, I decided I wanted to turn it into all of the edible garden. And I've done that. I finished that now, and I've got 15 fruit trees and about 35 raised beds, and I have from my garden. This is one of my favorite books. It's called The Easy Vegan Cookbook. It's really a great book, because you know, when you're busy and you want to have something, you know. And then I also get Yes Magazine, which is really a great magazine. If you haven't heard about it, it's really a great magazine. It has no advertisement, and it's a quarterly, and it's about good news. You know, we get so much bad news. This is good news in here, and I think we really need that in our lives, you know, when we have you know, all the, you know, you never hear good news on the radio or the TV, you know, it's all bad news. And so you need good news. So I search out by reading this magazine. And I went to to find out my carbon footprint is 8billiontrees.com. And my carbon footprint is 4.45, which is equal to the world average. And I'm at the top 88% of the world, where most Americans with their high carbon footprint are like 1%. So I'm at the opposite end, you know, that's how I live. So that carbon footprint and takes in how much food you grow, what type of diet you know, ask the right questions, you know, because a lot of them don't ask the right questions, you know. So yeah, so this one really, this book that I'm giving away really talks about what a plant-based diet is, you know, because what does that mean, plant-based diet? And this one is a Southern, you know, she lives in the South, and she talks about, you know, how she loved animals, and it was hard to, but, you know, she made the change, so she did. So these are 2 books that I would give away if people want to start that. So if you,
Fried okra there? Yeah.
okra, let's
I'm just kidding. It's everything in the South is
let's see if
fried.
okra is in here. Let's see if okra is in here.
It's gotta be in there. It's about to put us out. Yeah.
No. Oh, one pot. Okra. I'm not seeing it.
Southern. Yeah, I get that. This is the extra fried butter.
Yeah. Yeah. So, And so, you know, everybody knows here probably because, you know, I love to grow stuff, you know, I have all these berries and fruit. Started a jam business, you know, because what do you do? And this year was a really bad pear year and also a bad peach year because in April, my Danju pear and my frost peach had hundreds of flowers on them. And then we had 4.5 inches of rain, and that just, so last year I made 81 jars of peach jam. This year only 15. And you know, Danju pear, which is usually just dripping with pears, I got like 10 pears off of it. So yesterday, my neighbor who lives kind of behind me, he's got a red delicious and a golden delicious tree in the front yard, and they were just going to waste. So I went over and said, "Can I get some apples from you?" You know, because I'm basically out of apples now, and I've got 3 fairs to do, and I'm worried about having enough jam. So, you know, I got all the red delicious apples off his tree and stuff. So yeah, but so yeah, so yeah. Anybody want to know anything else?
I guess I was curious if the lifestyle that you have practice involved that has to do with psychology.
With what? Spirituality? Yes. You know, you love the planet. You love the planet, and you want to, you know, like cows are killing the planet. That's what started me off. You know, they're just, you know, with their methane and everything, they're just killing the planet. So definitely, if everybody did a plant-based diet, we wouldn't have the problems that we have today. Really, you know, it really, and it's so much better. I'm really feeling really good now that I'm being verified that my diet is the diet that is really healthy for you. You know, I mean, everybody's seeing that now, and I like to say plant-based rather than vegan, you know. So because of that, you know. Huh?
Locally, where do you get stuff like butter and milk? Well, I know that the milks that have butter and
Well, they have vegan butter. They have vegan butter at Eureka Natural Foods. And then I watched Plastic Wars. It was a thing that came out of in the last 6 months, and that really changed my life. I immediately went to making my own cashew milk, you know, and you know, all the strawberries and blueberries that come in those little tiny containers. You think those are recyclable? They're not. They're garbage, you know. And so I just went to the farmer's market and got strawberries and stuff, you know. And I've got strawberries in my garden, but yeah, so. I'm just doing everything I can, and that's how I have the low carbon footprint, because I'm doing everything I can, you know. Yeah, it's really important.
have a whole vegan piece, don't they?
Eureka.
Daughter's husband is vegan. I'm looking to visit. I have to go find.
Yeah, there's a whole area where it has all the cheese and the butter and all that stuff, the tofu and stuff.
Do you substitute flax for eggs?
Yes, I use flax seeds. Yeah, I use flax seeds every day because they're really good for you, you know. And I do 2 tablespoons of ground flax seeds every day on my breakfast. Yeah.
The co-op is now carrying egg replacements that are
Yeah.
yellow
Yeah.
plastic.
And also,
Actually, they have like 3 different ones. I was totally surprised. Like, I had not seen that. I have a grandchild who's allergic to eggs, so I was interested in that, but I hadn't seen that before. So, yeah, the Arcata Co-op.
And also-
everything around. I also use the America's Test Kitchen vegan cookbook, which is it's kind of fussy. It's not simple and it's not easy, but it does, like, everything I made out of this, and really good with a lot of cashew cheese. I will. admit.
right,
They are
right.
doing that thing, but it's just extremely savory and
Right.
lots of roasted vegetables and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that's been a good research. I am not a vegan or a
Yeah.
vegetarian.
Yeah,
but
right.
We like a lot of people are trying to eat a lot.
Well,
less
just
meat.
start, you know, 1 day a week and 2 days a week or whatever, you know, just start. And I also recently learned that both the co-op and Eureka Natural Foods sells laundry soap, dry laundry soap in bulk, you know, which is really wonderful, because I got mine in a cardboard box, but then it's got a plastic bag inside of it. You know, I'm trying to do everything. You know, the only thing I can't do anything about is tofu. It has a little bit that comes off the top, you know, but you know.
Well, you
You can
can,
buy both tofu and
at
soa.
Wild Berries.
Well, I haven't, I looked at it, I hadn't seen it.
Oh, yeah, it's in
You just
the,
ask behind the deli.
Oh, you have to
Bring
ask?
your own container.
yeah, bring your own.
Oh, okay. Okay, thank you.
And
Yeah,
bring, you know, you can bring glass or
right.
whatever. We always bring a plastic bucket to put some laundry soap in
Uh-huh.
so that we're not using plastic
Right.
paper bags.
Right.
So,
Yeah, when I go shopping, I bring all my own bags because I don't want to get more. And I've got, you know, the net bags that I use and stuff. So I try not to use any plastic as much as I can. And in the story, you can see a lot is already happening. We know about straw-baled houses. We know about basic income. We have an institute, but it could happen, you know, and everybody's growing food. A lot of people are growing food since the COVID happened. Now, a lot of people are growing their own food, you know. So, oh, well, a number of years ago, I started having water catchment, and I had two 50-gallon drums. And then I learned that the first drum it goes in gets all the crap that comes off the roof, and you have to have, now I learned it's a first need that you have to put up there and have it. But then with the help of my partner, now I have 5 500-gallon containers. So I have 1,250 gallons of rain catchment. So I was amazed at how much I would, before I turned on my drip, I was watering everything by hand, which took, you know, an hour or two every day, you know, finally, you know, but I used all that water. I couldn't believe that, you know. It seems like a lot of water, but I thought it would be really good for when we have a disaster, you know, that I could share it with my neighbors and stuff, you know, but yeah, so I have all that spare water, not right now, I don't, but it'll fill up, you know, once we get some more rain. Has it been 8 minutes yet?
I don't know who's doing timer.
Who's doing timer?
You said you make your own cashew milk.
Yeah.
Bunch of cashews. And
Well, I get them at, well, I don't like go Costco. That's the cheapest where I could find it, where it's the cheapest cashews I can find.
what's the process? How much waste is there? I used to make
Okay.
my own soy milk and my own tofu. I grind up soybeans and grain milk when I was living off the bread. And we had, with the waste, the bulk okara, we try to make like breads and pancakes and fry them up. And
I know.
the chickens.
I know. I feel bad because I do that on the cashew. There's a lot of waste and it just goes in my compost. You know, I have 3 compost bins, you know, so
Or you could make cashew cheese where you don't.
with the waste that comes from that, you know, basically it's I don't know what, there's this cashews that are kind of really cut up really fine, and that's just, you know, that you get the milk from that, and then I'm putting the rest. I wish I could do something with it, but I haven't found anything I could do with it yet, you know. But yeah,
Make McDonald's ice cream out of cashew. I think their soft serve is actually out of cashew. I don't think there's right. Wow. You know what? I think it was the cheapest thing for a long time. I mean, yeah. It's environmental, but yeah. I could be wrong with that. What?
Huh?
Put it in brownies.
okay,
You could put them in brownies.
yeah,
It tastes good. I mean, what's left over?
yeah. I wish I could find a way to use it, but right now I'm just putting it in the compost. It's making a, you know, it's good for the compost.
Happy compost.
Yeah, happy compost. I have a, you know, so I have.
Petco, that's bulk. Doesn't have all that stuff.
Oh, thank you, Thina. Yeah, because that's one reason I don't want to. Well, cats love my yard. I have, you know, because it's so different from the other yards. You know, I have one cat that's always in underneath my blueberries, and you know, I don't know why, but they seem to really love my yard. You know, it's just so different.
They just love the soft.
Well, then they dig in my beds and poop in there.
Yeah. That's why they love it. Yeah.
every bed is a big kitty litter.
Yeah, right. Well, I recently, after all these years, I finally got a rat in my compost. It didn't have the wire underneath it, so we put the wire underneath it and got rid of the rat. But I actually, I mean, I thought something was in there, and then I actually saw the rat. you know, making a tunnel into my.
It's a 5-star restaurant for a rat.
And then I live on Lowell Street. So the end of Lowell Street goes into like a forest. And last winter, I had 3 deer come into my front yard, and they were in heaven. They were eating all the grape leaves and the blackberry, Apache blackberry leaves. So I looked it up what you could do, and I made a hot pepper spray you could spray on the plants and stuff. And then they didn't like that. Yeah.
Amy was gonna come ring the bell.
Who was going to read that? Amy was going to read the bell. So if you'd like to sign up for the what if discussion, you can put your name there, because plant-based or Southern cooking, and you can take one of these too. You know, Yes Magazine is really wonderful.
Do you want anything for that?
No.
You want anything for that?
No.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So that talks about plant-based, what is plant-based at the beginning, you know. So really describes it. Yeah, so. Yeah, you haven't heard of Yes Magazine yet? It's really wonderful. It's good news, and it's always about one thing, each one.
So we're in the next place. You got your books, you got your goodies.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think this group is going to head over and join Mark.
RCEA has great advice
See, I gotta clip this on you.
about that.
Okay.
And,
So they have a website you can go to and investigate.
yeah, their office. is
Never even
very
heard of
good.
them. Thank you. That's
Yeah.
great. Okay.
So are we supposed
So,
to go to a?
You go to station 4,
I'll
right?
see if people are
Yep,
cussing me out when
Yeah,
this is on
let
my
us
video.
know.
Welcome, everybody. Come on over here. Don't be shy. So I'm Sue, and Margie is helping me today, and chime in anytime. But there's some people I'm not sure I know. Emily. Hi, I'm Sue. Hi, Allison. Greg, I know Greg. Cat, of course. Okay, sorry, I didn't recognize you behind the mask. Oh, Sina, of course. Okay, so this is, you know, what we're doing today is thinking about climate action that we can do as individuals, which you will find out from Joanna, and what we can do in our own households, whether it be in our own homes or in our spiritual home, which you are doing with Scott Allen. And here you're going to find out what you can do as a citizen. And so the Climate Action Campaign has been in existence since late 2018. We have brochures here that you can pick up to find out more about what we do. And in general, we have our meetings every month, second Sunday of the month at 1 p.m. On Zoom, because for now, not only because of COVID, but it does save gas. And speaking about gas, we also have our Climate Action Campaign is doing the Drive 55 campaign, Keep Earth Alive. And you're welcome to help yourself to a bumper sticker. And especially for those of us who are over 55, I mean, in age, you know, they will know why we're driving more slowly, not because we're old farts. What we do is depends upon our interests, and and our abilities, of course, and time. And so some of us prefer to attend all the jurisdictional meetings that have climate related issues on their agenda. Some of us are more into writing letters and making phone calls and signing petitions to our policymakers and our legislators to change policies and laws. And so every day, if you get on our mailing list, our email list, I can send you several, and you can choose. You know, you don't have to do them all, of petitions or letters and ideas that you can contact your legislators about. And some of them are local, some of them are regional, and some of them are national. And then another thing that we've done is attend marches and rallies, local ones. And last year, we thankfully, to the help of a lot of people, we've had placards and banners and a banner created for our climate action campaign. And every Saturday, thanks to Chip and Sina, the climate action banner and the Black Lives Matter banner are there on the corner of Eureka there, V and 4th Street every Saturday. So, and today also, which I forgot to remind Amy about, is the United Nations Sunday. And the UUA designates this today as the day to ask all congregations in the country to make a donation to support the UU office at the United Nations. And what this office does is very important work, is to bring to the international table the UU values. So UU values like cooperation, right? And so and diplomacy. And anyway, their theme for the last 2 years has been displacement of populations because of climate change. It's a climate justice issue. As you know, there are many populations that are migrating, and they're migrating because, whether it's because of drought or famine or violence is flooding, but violence is an outcome of the shortage of food and water and resources. So there's our donation jar, and on our table here, you know, what's coming up is our election, and the only climate related issue that's on the ballot next month is Proposition 30. So if you haven't voted yet, help yourself to information about Proposition 30. We hope you will vote yes. And there's what other information we have here?
Well,
Fill it in. Oh yes. If you have a PG&E bill, you can consider signing up with the Community Energy Authority to sign up for energy that is totally renewable. So here's a card that shows you where the renewable sources of energy come from. There's 2 different programs. One's a little bit more expensive than the other. And it matters, like, I can't remember, maybe a couple of dollars for a household per month extra. For the fellowship, we're on this program, and I think it comes to like $10 or $14 a month more. So there's that information. What else?
Does the fellowship have solar panels?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. And we have an electric vehicle charging station, and go with Scott Allen, and you'll find out what you can do, even in your own home. Yes.
It's
So
the Redwood Coast Energy Authority. If you make more electricity with your solar than you use, they'll give it back to you. Once a year they have a.
Yeah, we're signed up for that already.
No, they don't. We have that. They don't ever give us any money back, but we don't have to pay
as much on our bill.
We don't have to pay as much on the bills, but the whole thing about them giving you money back, that's not a thing. So,
My highest bill for them for the year was $5.
right, yeah, we pay $10 because we have a pump.
Ah.
But,
So
yeah, it's great. And
are you saying that you actually thought you had earned? money?
we make more energy with our solar panels than we use at our house.
Okay.
And at the end of the year, we don't pay except for our pump, which is a separate. But it's not like they give us a cash back, or
Okay.
they say, oh, you generated all this energy in August when LA was facing brownouts.
Uh-huh.
And we appreciate that. They don't. And I'm just saying for people who, I've had people say that to me, well, if you get money back from PG&E, and like, whatever program we're on, we've never gotten anything back from PG&E. But we are more than happy to be feeding into the grid when LA is facing brownouts. So
Mhm.
it doesn't bother us. But
Mhm.
I also
Yeah.
got a juice box so people can come and charge at my house on the day.
Oh, what a great idea.
I juice box.
Yeah, that's what it's called. I don't have an electric car yet.
Okay.
Is that outside or inside?
No, it's in my garage.
It's in your, wow, what a great
Yeah,
idea.
but if somebody calls me and says, hey, can I come up next Sunday day? I'll say, oh, I'm gonna be here. Yeah, come on.
Boy, that should go into the newsletter.
Yes. Yeah.
If-
Do you want
There's
to
also some sort of network. I forget what it's called. Charger.
Oh,
remember to put that in
We
the
actually have
newsletter?
it on our phone for some reason. But yeah, but Chip uses that too.
Yeah.
Where you, like any little town, you can find out where you can charge your electric vehicle if they don't have a charging station.
at
Yeah.
homes, you mean?
So
Yeah,
I'll announce it at our
people
next,
offer that.
or no, if you
Would be
come to our
happy.
next meeting in November, announce it there.
Yeah, I've never heard of that. I just thought you always had to look for the charging station.
There's great networks, like you find where they are, but yes, there's a home charger. Some of them have them outside. I didn't. I wanted it in my garage. But I have a 2-car garage, so somebody can just pull in.
Mm-hmm. Great. Well,
Mandy Bray wanted me to tell you that she's 9 years out of breast cancer.
Oh, congratulations, Mandy. We're missing you. Thank you.
I don't know who's the official time.
We hear the bell.
Right.
Yeah, but anybody have any questions? There's information here about Prop 30 if you haven't voted yet.
also, as far as the fellowship is concerned, Sue does a really wonderful job of writing up what the Climate Action Committee is doing, each newsletter. So it's really, keep up on that because you'll learn a lot. And also there will be times when you'll realize that you can make a phone call, write a letter, or whatever. Sue always has that in there. And then we have a climate action of the month, and
Yes.
we try to keep that fairly simple, something that somebody can do that month. But, it's nice to just start sort of incorporating these things, reading what Sue has to say and taking action according to that, and then maybe taking a look at the climate action of the month and trying to, do something like that too. It is a matter of forming habits, I've found, breaking old habits and starting new habits. Then it becomes easy, easier and easier.
I'm cutting through plastic bags or things that animals get stuck in. And one of the things is those little round things on the top of boxes or milk. A lot of milk cartons have them now in green. And I cut through them, and it's really hard because sometimes there's 4 layers. I don't know, but if I get older, I'm not going to be able to do that.
What is this? What is this?
Oh, anybody need it? Well, something. Well, why don't you just repeat what you just said?
I just said, I know what you're talking about with plastic, mouthpiece on them, and then you have to remove them in order to recycle them or compost them, and they're very tiresome. Yeah. Yeah.
Go into your garbage.
Mhm.
So the little one, I have a plastic bag and I go the little garbage. Put that over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that would be like the wheat by the glass milk, the cow's milk. So you're talking about like on the nuts, the milk alternatives, like the oat
Right,
milk and the
and-
nut
and
milk.
some
They
of
all
the
have
regular milk.
they all have like a plastic thing in them or something. Pouring
Yes.
spout. Got it.
But even the
Yeah.
glass milk bottles have a plastic cap on all of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that ideally could be something that would be legislation could prevent people from making packaging that's non-recyclable.
Well, one of the things that we've done a lot of climate action on plastics, and one of the things that I discovered, I went around to a bunch of stores to see what they're doing with single-use plastic, and one of the things I noticed doing that is they're very sensitive to having somebody come up and tell you, talk to them about, they're using too much single-use plastic. The co-op has done some upgrading recently. Wildberries, they need to be talked to. They changed their what used to be kind of salad bar like place. Everything's in plastic now. And I've talked to them a couple of times about it. They say that, and it didn't used to be that way. They used to. Yeah, and people would pick up what they wanted. Now it's all prepackaged in plastic. Yeah. So what I found is that it's really important when you go to these stores to speak up. Just talk to them and tell them that you think that they can do this a different way. It may cost them a little bit more money, but not too long ago, wow, and there are employees there who agree with this, and so it's just a matter of being very vocal when you go into stores.
And sometimes you have to change the preferences, because you used to get this mayonnaise and now all it comes is in plastic. So I get a different mayonnaise that doesn't come in plastic, and I can get used to that.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then also, there's certain bulk areas in stores. You can tell people, I want this in bulk. I buy this all the time. I want it in bulk. The co-op has I just noticed they have a new recycling thing for plastics. If they're clean and dry, you put them in. I have to look into that and figure out what they're doing with that, but that's part of it's right by their bulk HABA department now.
They also have wine corks.
Oh, yeah.
That you can bring back. You can bring back your wine cork. It's not something that I would use, but by their wine department, they do have a big thing to drop off cork. But I was there last week.
Oh, there was on this.
Yeah, they're just remodeling everything. So yes, the wine corks is backed by the wine, which makes a lot of sense, right? Yeah.
Also at the Eureka Natural Food. In Louisville.
Yeah.
And you read the co-ops too, but they have to be cork. They can't be the plastic ones.
Right, exactly.
They don't take the plastic cork. They only want the cork.
Because it's cork.
Yeah.
That's a plastic stopper. Yeah.
Is this working at all, Anna?
I'm
Okay.
sorry about talking. You're fine. About it.
We're done now.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go grab some cash.
Okay, thank you. Yes, and one of the things that the United UU office at the United Nations has been doing is the intergenerational seminar for intergenerational folks. And a couple of years ago, we were so excited that we were going to send some teens to the United Nations for that intergenerational seminar. But it didn't happen because of COVID, but we're still planning to do it sometime in the future. Thank you for attending. Thank you for coming. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and think about joining the Climate Action Campaign here at the Fellowship too. There's lots of different ways to plug in. There's
Sign up for my email list.
Yeah, sign up for Sue's email list and vote yes on Proposition 30.
Yes. Thanks, everybody. And those of you at home, you can send your check to the office and just make it out to HUUF and put in the memo line, UU at UN, meaning the UU office at the United Nations.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah.
No, we're
Thank you so much for all you do.
Thank you, you guys, for coming.
So interesting, nice to know. And it is true that like even carrying bags, like I see people in that early process, they're like, I always forget bags. And I'm just like, yeah, it's just a thing. You just keep doing it.
Yeah.
And then after a while, you're just going to be like, how are all those people getting their groceries in plastic bags or paper bags or whatever?
Yeah.
I carry bags in my car.
Well, I carry bags in my car too, but it it is this thing where you just kind of just move on and you realize, oh, this is not that hard to do.
Yeah.
I can make this work. So anyway, thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bring some bean bags up too. Okay. And they're able to like, yeah. Climate action. How was that? Good, good. Yeah, right. I know, I'm always amazed at how much Sue is plugged into as far as what's on the ballot and what's coming up and this petition. Yeah. She is a fount of knowledge.
I know that you guys have like embedded on it. I'm not sure, do we talk about like Native Americans?
Probably not enough, honestly, but that's very timely. Where I've brought in, we've got some Yurok leaders coming to talk to us in November around Thanksgiving, because I struggle with Thanksgiving every single year. Just like, oh man, how do we do this holiday in a way that actually feels in alignment? Yeah, exactly. Yeah, for years it was really difficult when my daughter was really young, and they'd send her home with like, here's a little apple pie and here's a little story about the Pilgrims and the Indians. I was like, oh, you're killing me. Why are you perpetuating this myth? Like, now I have to go and undo all the stuff that you just set up.
No, it's true. It's a battle to like be so conscious of that history and find ways to transform it to an event that respects and honors Native Americans in that history, but also like for my family, generations and generations, it's been this time of like love and connection for family. Like we have a Thanksgiving specific recipe book handwritten by my great grandmother.
Oh, that's lovely.
And so it's like just stuff like that is like, cool. That's so good.
So we want to do a little continued exploration, and my apologies to, please, grab that and find a comfortable, safe seat. We have found that some of the chairs are fairly stable. And thank you folks on Zoom. I know this has been a little all over the place, so thank you for your patience. But what we wanted to do is just kind of a little continued exploration of what Joanna began with us when we're talking about what is that vision? What could it look like? I brought in the first group, I brought in that quote, and I don't remember who said it, maybe you guys do. It's easier to imagine the end of the world than it is to imagine a world without capitalism. Do you know that? Just because I think it's just so ingrained in our systems that we've I know in my lifetime, it feels like, well, this is all there is, right? This is how you have to do it. You extract resources. People go to work all the time so they can make the money, so they can buy the things. And then we just keep on and on. And we forget that there's actually a multiplicity, of systems, of ways of doing life and community and food production that have, very little to do with the systems that we're currently living in.
It's on the idea that everything and everything.
Yeah.
It can't always be more and more and more.
Yeah. Yeah, it's not, yeah, exactly, exactly. So did you want to say a little bit about what we're doing?
Sure. So basically, kind of what we're doing with the art is just trying to think about what we think of, like when we're here reading what we think of as a future that we'd like to live in, or what we're working towards, and not just getting caught up in like all the doom and gloom we're trying to prevent, but also how we could see this world better, and just kind of doodling a little bit of like how that could happen, or what you see in your mind's eye when you. Oh, I didn't know I had a mic.
So we're gonna take about 5 minutes just to, so grab whatever colors are calling to you, and we can schlep them to you too. And again, this is kind of
Be careful.
the what? Okay, great. So yeah, just about 5 minutes, and this is stuff that our Zoom folks can do at home if you have pen and crayon and paper.
And it's been 70 years since I held it.
Oh.
Maybe not 70. 60.
What if we're just very artistic?
Well, and that's the thing. Yeah, my doodle had a lot of words because I'm the same. I have about maybe 3 things I can do, and most of them include stick figures, and yeah. So just what would that look like on a personal and communal level to inhabit that place?
There's a quote about what I'm drawing right now that I heard recently. I think it was from a rich dude, but somebody with space, and they were like, saying basically that so many people write about space as being this beautiful thing, but when they went up there and they were looking out and saw the world, what they actually felt was this really profound sadness.
It's William Shatner.
William Shatner, yeah, there you go. Yeah, because like that it was occurring to them that everything that was special and everything that was beloved and precious that we need to pray was actually out here.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Hey, join us. We had some people leave their artwork with us. Yeah. Share some of these. I think there's a lot of us bad kids today. Yeah, those they're not in the structure.
In the world, kids don't get punished for accidentally.
Right. I think it just means you're really passionate about. I mean, they're still usable. They still work.
That's broken as there's definitely some dramatic quotes there. This is cool. Oh, it's olives.
Okay, it's like this one's. So maybe let's take about another minute just to get some images on paper. That's beautiful. Is it a heart?
Yeah.
Wow. With a galaxy inside of it? That's amazing.
They can play your artistic.
Right? I'm like, okay, that's how it's done. Well, and this is the third one she's done. Like, I stopped up to number one with
I've kind of been running out of ideas a little bit. The first one was, oh my gosh.
right? It's beautiful.
So like a green city. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With a green stuff on top of the roofs.
Does anyone want to share what came up for them in that?
I just was thinking of like using a lot more alternative energy, of course, like more sun power, wave energy, and planting more trees and community gardens. And this would give people and children more hope, and change can equal hope. For a lot of people, change is fearful, and change equals hope. Depending on what change is, I guess.
Yeah, right.
I like the wave.
Greg, how is that for you?
So I'm not much of a doodler or a drawer, so I just wrote some things down. I started off by thinking about my career as a forester. So I thought, well, one thing that I'd really like to see is sustainable forests. And then I thought, well, having worked with tribes a lot in this area, salmon prospering everywhere that salmon used to live in. And then finally I came up with the sort of more overarching summary of what I think would be my hope and view for the world, which is that the Native American relationship to nature is endorsed by everybody. Because tribes and Native American people have a totally different view of the natural world and what it means to them individually and to them as tribes and individuals. You got the last word. So that's what I had. And then, as I was sitting here, there were a bunch of turkey vultures flying around. Maybe. I thought, you know, in my lifetime, it might actually be possible that those would be condors. I thought that that would be, I mean, there's condor reintroduction going on right here, but hopefully I'll be able to see that at some point. Yep.
Okay, so I started more elaborate than I was gonna go, and then realized I needed to write words because I wasn't gonna be able to draw all the things. So my goal was kind of like, you know, a garden with all the different pillars kind of holding everything that we need. I really liked, you know, the working less in that story, and you know how beautiful that is, and how much we all crave the time to do what we thrive at, not the thing that necessarily brings us the money, but the thing that could support everybody. And so having higher wages and more time to not work and just support your community around you. And you know, I think having my child and having everybody say it takes a village, and then not really having that village in place, you know, getting to that, like to a place where we could have more ease and more community, raise children, gardens everywhere, and sharing of the goods that we produce. And you know, my ultimate dream is living completely off the grid in a beautiful forested location, and then, you know, getting back to respecting the earth was the last thing I threw on there. You know, changing our ways. So that's it.
Yeah, mine was a bunch of words too, because I do not possess Eva's skills. Do you want to talk about yours at all? Lovely. Chris Chapin. Yeah, had some really lovely stuff to say.
Well, I drew basically our solar system, or kind of a galaxy, inside a heart, which is not super anatomically correct because I hate human anatomy.
We're grading you.
Ventricle, right?
And that is inside a very green and a very clean and healthy earth. Because kind of my idea was that, like, in order for our earth to be healthy, to be good, we have to be thinking with our hearts and be acting with our hearts, and kind of all the power and all the sun and all the lightness of humanity comes from within us, and the power that we have to change things. So I didn't quite draw what I was imagining for the earth, but sort of more what I was imagining that humans' motivations could be. Yeah.
All right.
I think that's really, yeah. Well, and it's interesting too. So I was reading there's a great book I'm reading on congregational conflict, actually, written by a UU minister. But she opens up, she has the whole first chapter is all about our brains and how we're wired and accessing different parts of our brain. So enable us to engage in conflict more mindfully and more proactively. And she talks about how in our culture we kind of prioritize the left brain, right? You know, it's just like we can strategize our way out of everything. We're just gonna like form a 25-point plan, you know, and so it's, you know, this is the only thing we need to lean on in order to find solutions. And she's like, when actually, if you don't engage this kind of right brained, more emotional, more receptive, heart-based aspect of yourself, she's like, we're creating psychopaths, really, you know, people that are disconnected from their hearts, they're disconnected from their empathy, and we're losing sight of this whole vast resource and intelligence we have, which is our capacity to relate, you know, just as humans. So I really appreciate that. Thank you. So, and that's why we doodle too. Yeah.
Intuition.
Yeah. 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 Well, and it's always, I think it's pointed out too in a lot of UU circles, right? It's like we really value science, we value learning, and it's beautiful, but we forget that there's this whole other softer, emotional, you know, social aspect of us that needs to be engaged in order to really find solutions. Hey, there's me in echo form. I'm sure I did. Well, I think the next thing, looks like Scott's finishing up with his tour. So yeah, so if anyone's we're running a little over today, but and you're welcome to take your doodles, or if you'd like to give them, we can post them on the bulletin board. Thank you. Ability to follow direction. Okay, we'll work on that. But who walked away with some good insights or inspiration to take into your everyday? Yay! Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I just want to, first of all, I want to just give a hand to everyone, to Scott Allen, who so diligently and beautifully cares for our building and educated us about that today. Thank you to Eva, who's cleaning up our art supplies. Thank you to Sue, Sue Lee Mossman and Margie Emerson, and Joanna Welch. Thank you. So let's give them just a little round of applause. So thank you. Thank you. So in a moment, I want to invite you over, and we're going to do a closing song, because I think there's something transformative about ending and beginning with music. It accesses a part of our humanity that we need to be in touch with in order to make these types of changes. But for now, Scott has asked me if we would just collectively say a blessing over our EV charging station and just over this building. I think it's a beautiful thing, you know. We forget that all these technological things, you know, they came from a human source, led by our spiritual, you know, the human spirit was what initiated a lot of these innovations. So what this made me think of, and so what I want to advise you is just to extend hands, and you can hold hands or you can just energetically hold hands. or you can have it wherever you can hold them like this. This made me think of, so in a lot of contemplative circles, right? If you've been a part of a meditation circle or a yoga circle, a lot of times we'll end our time together just with this simple, may this practice be for the benefit of all beings. And this is a practice. Every time we decide to take the bus or ride our bike, every time we decide to make a change in our diet, every time we decide to make a change in our household, every time we make that practice, that decision, we're strengthening that ability, that muscle, and it's a practice that ripples out into our community. So let's just take a collective breath and just offer this day and this learning and this practice of coming together to re-inspire and reawaken this capacity for change and to re-envision the kind of world we want to be in. May this practice, may the practices that we do here at the fellowship and here in our technology and in the way that we engage, may they be of benefit for everyone here and the lives that we touch and the life of this planet. And in fact, we don't have to go anywhere. We can stand right here. I don't know all the words, so we're probably just going to sing the first verse. Who knows? We are building a new way.
Paper off of the black.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. This is the big important part, the big reveal. I don't want to rip it because I'll scatter. 1, 2, Scott, do you want to? Here we are. Now it's. It's official! It's a little more, yeah, inviting without the, yeah. Well, let's congregate over in more of a circle over here, and we can finish up our time together with the song. Does that work, Anna? Okay. No, I'll just be right here. This one. Do you want to read this?
Oh, I don't know that.
You don't know that? It's this one. Time we work towards this is what we're doing step by step. So let's just start by clapping. Who wants to lead? A new way we are building, a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free. We are working to be free from shame and jealousy. We are working to be free. We can feed our every need. 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 Start with love that is the seed. We can feed our every need. One more time. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way. We are building a new way, feeling stronger every day. We are building a new way. Thank you all so much for being a part of this today. I feel daily inspired by all the work that you all are doing, and just very grateful to be in part of this community. Shall we? I always forget how we do our final closing when we come to this point. Does anyone feel comfortable leading us in our final closing, or go now in peace? Debbie, do you want to lead us? I'll just put you on the spot there. Too many things. You want to lead? Go from here in peace, go in love. Go from here in peace, go in love. Go from here in peace, go in love. In love, go in peace. Shalom, assalamu alaikum. Blessed be, aho, ashe. Thank you. I want to say too, Joanna has a sign-up sheet in the back if you're interested in reading more of the What If book. We're just getting names and email addresses. If you want to be part of a book discussion group, you can go put your name on that. And I think we'll be around for a while if you want to chat a little bit more about this stuff. So